Good morning, Western Washington, and Merry Christmas. Happy Wednesday. I'm Matthew Fab with Western Washington Weather, and today on Christmas we have a lot of weather to talk about. We have, as you can see, a big plume of moisture moving into the Pacific Northwest, some atmospheric river qualities to this, and right out here a storm is developing that's going to bring some strong winds to Western Washington, Western Oregon, and parts of British Columbia, but there's a lot of uncertainty with this storm, so we're going to talk about that here in the video today. Taking a look at the radar, you can see we have rain spreading across the region. Rain is going to continue to fall all day into tomorrow and then likely into Friday and Saturday as well, and potentially even beyond that. We will get some decent precipitation amounts with this storm, including over an inch of rain in the lowlands and multiple feet of snow in the mountains. So let's start here with the precipitation type. You can see we have rain and mountain snow moving through the area today, heavy rain and mountain snow at times. Then you see the low form right off the coast here tonight, and that moves into Vancouver Island, bringing more rain and mountain snow, and then the strong pressure gradient with the strong winds. We'll talk about that more in a moment. Then you can see the next storm is a stronger low that's going to move into the northern Oregon coast, bring some really strong winds to parts of Oregon, and another round of heavy rain and mountain snow to western Washington. And then we have a brief break, but still showery on Friday afternoon before the next weak system moves into western Washington, another round of rain and snow, and then another brief break Saturday afternoon before more rain and mountain snow move into the area by Sunday, and that remains showery all the way through Monday there. So now let's take a look at this windstorm we're talking about. So you can see here, this atmospheric river feature is kind of hung up right in this area right here. But as we go through today, you see this low start to form on the north side of that atmospheric river. And by the time we get to 10 p.m. tonight, that's a pretty strong low, 980 millibars right off the Washington coast. And that moves north into Vancouver Island there, weakening as it makes landfall, and then moves across Vancouver Island, across parts of the San Juans, and north into British Columbia. And there's a very strong pressure gradient behind this low with a strong current of winds to its south called a bent-back occlusion that's going to bring very strong winds to some portions of western Washington. However, there is a lot of uncertainty with this storm. You can see there is agreement between the two major global models, the European and the GFS, about where this storm is going to make landfall. You can see the European has it 980 millibars right off central Vancouver Island, and the GFS has 982 millibars just off central Vancouver Island. So there is agreement with timing and relatively with strength with these two major models here. But besides that, the agreement is minimal. So we're looking at the European model here, taking a look at winds at 2,500 feet, and you can see we have this. As we go through today, we have this strong coastal jet develop off the Oregon coast there, which will bring very strong gusts to parts of the Oregon coast, potentially over 80 miles per hour for some locations through today and into tonight. That coastal jet strengthens tonight, and then you see the low right here. And there's the bent-back occlusion south of the low, and that bent-back occlusion moves straight into Neah Bay, up the strait, and then into the San Juans and Bellingham and Whatcom County there, with strong southerly winds to its south over the lowlands and the coast, and then that moves north into British Columbia. So the placement of that bent-back occlusion is what's really going to determine some of the impacts for the area. So let's take a look at that. So here's the European model showing maximum gusts through Thursday afternoon, and you can see that bent-back occlusion makes landfall right there at the tip of Washington there near Cape Flattery with gusts near 80 miles per hour there, and then moves up the strait, bringing gusts of 60 miles per hour to Victoria, and then 60 to 65 miles per hour for Bellingham and the San Juans before weakening into Canada there. You can see strong winds along the Washington coast with gusts of 50 to 65 miles per hour, and then the entirety of the lowlands gusting 40 to 50 miles per hour. And the European has been underdoing wind speeds with our most recent systems across the lowlands. So you can see it shows 49 miles per hour there in Seattle. It showed a similar value on last week's storm early Wednesday morning, and SeaTac ended up gusting to 55 miles per hour. So these winds may very well be stronger across parts of the lowlands. So taking a look here at the NAM model, you can see this forecast does not have as clear of a bent-back occlusion making landfall, but shows strong winds of 50 to 55 miles per hour for parts of the northwest interior, Whidbey Island, San Juans, and then gusts of 45 to 50 miles per hour for the lowlands, and then 50 to 65 miles per hour for the coast. You can see it does have stronger winds over parts of the Willamette Valley, so that could be an indication of where that bent back occlusion is going. If we take a look at the high-resolution rapid refresh model, this forecast doesn't really have a very clear bent-back occlusion at all and has been really wavering over its last few runs, just showing totally different situations. But this shows gusts of 40 to 55 miles per hour for the lowlands, strongest there around Olympia, possibly 50 plus. And then same thing again, 50 to 60 over the northwest interior, and then strong along the coast, 50 to 65 for the Washington coast there. And finally, this is the high-resolution Canadian model. And what this forecast shows is a somewhat concerning scenario that doesn't seem too likely, but is very possible with all this uncertainty. We can't really count anything out yet. This forecast shows that bent-back occlusion making landfall near Westport and then moving straight through the Puget Sound area with gusts up to 60 miles per hour for parts of the Seattle and Tacoma areas there, and then 60 miles an hour over the San Juans and Whidbey Island, and then along the coast as well. Again, this is not a super likely scenario, but with so much disagreement in the forecast models over where that current of strong winds called the bent-back occlusion makes landfall, we can't really count anything out yet. And for that reason, I will be making a second video tonight after Christmas dinner and all that. I'll be posting another video tonight with the latest forecast, and hopefully we will have some more agreement by then. So taking a look here, we're looking at weather alerts across the area. You can see winter storm warnings for the entirety of the Cascades in Washington. Southern Cascades, they're under winter weather advisory. Winter storm warning for the Olympics. High wind warning for the entire coasts of Washington and Oregon. And then a wind advisory that is in effect until about 10 a.m. here for the northwest interior Whidbey Island, and then a high wind watch, which will likely be upgraded to a high wind warning that is in effect from this evening through Thursday afternoon. And then you can also see a flood watch is in effect for parts of Clallam County there with some river flooding possible. So let's take a look here at the high-resolution rapid refresh. We're taking a look at rain over the day today. You can see rain picks up as we go through the afternoon. Mountain snow gets heavier as well. This is just a few hours of just heavy rain and heavy mountain snow. Past travel is going to be very difficult tonight if you're coming back from Christmas in eastern Washington or coming back from Leavenworth. You can see that heavy rain continues all the way through tonight, with then heavy showers as the windstorm moves through early tomorrow morning. And you can see another round of heavy rain early tomorrow morning with more heavy mountain snow before we turn showery on Thursday afternoon with some heavy showers across the area, potential convergence zone bands, and then our next system, that strong system over Oregon, starts to spread rain across western Washington by Thursday night. So how much rain are we expecting? This is the National Blend of Models. We're looking out to Thursday evening. Through Thursday evening, we're looking at 2 to 3 inches on the coast and 1 to 1.5 inches in the lowlands from Everett southward. And then you can see the typical rain-shadowed areas north of the Olympic Peninsula getting about 1/3 of an inch, and then up to 3/4 of an inch for places like Bellingham and parts of Skagit County, and then about an inch to a quarter of an inch to an inch there across parts of Snohomish County. And then taking a look at snow, we're going to have some big snow totals for the Cascades. This is just through Thursday evening, and you can see around 18 inches at Snoqualmie and Stevens Passes, and up to 21 inches at White Pass there. We could have some higher amounts at White and Stevens Passes, but regardless, 18 inches of snow in 2 days is a pretty big total, and that will be the heaviest snow we've had this season for the mountain passes, and of course it occurs during Christmas travel. So just a big heads up to everybody. With this mountain snow coming up, there will be disruptions on the passes. If you're traveling to Leavenworth for Christmas, expect some big disruptions on Stevens Pass with all of that snow going on. And then also just wanted to point out, we're going to have big waves with these systems moving in as well. You can see our system tonight bringing big waves to the Washington-Oregon coast Thursday morning, and then that system that's going to move into Oregon bringing some huge waves to parts of the Oregon coast, not as big to Washington, but before another round of bigger waves moves in on Saturday, and then we start to have a bit of a break by the time we get into Sunday and Monday. So there's a lot of impacts possible over the next 24 hours here, especially with the wind and with that uncertainty. So again, I'll be doing another video tonight, and stay tuned. You can subscribe here on YouTube and join the Western Washington Weather Facebook group, and follow me on Twitter and Blue Sky. Those links are all in the description. And remember, impacts are possible with these winds Any winds gusting 45 to 50 plus miles per hour across western Washington can cause power outages and tree damage, and with the uncertainty with this storm, there's potential for stronger winds, so stay tuned to my social media. I'll be talking about those impacts, and I'll do another video tonight, and I'll talk to you all then.